All right. I guess I'll do the agenda today. All right.
Sure.
All right. Welcome, everyone. This is the Node.js tooling working group meeting. It's August 6th today. So yeah, I guess we'll jump right into the agenda. So first up on the agenda, we have some way to alert end users to features that were added to Node Core when they're using a package or a shim or something. So this is, I was supposed to be working on this one. I have not made any additional progress on this. I've been giving it more thought over the last little while. I do think that we kind of talked last time, like, should this be, I think it should be a standalone package, but should it kind of implement all this logic on its own, or should it be built on top of something like ESLint? And I do think it probably makes sense to build on top of ESLint, because the more I keep thinking about it, the more I realize you would just be rebuilding a ton of that functionality, basically, to make it something standalone. We can still run it as a standalone package, but I think it was Ben that suggested that in our last meeting, and I've been giving it some thought since then as well, and I think that is a good way to go, but I have not had a chance to start on that yet.
Makes sense to me. That sounds like a good idea. The ESLint part of it and stuff. So
yeah, no point in reinventing the wheel, right? Even as a starting point, I think that it would just be easier to do that way. So okay, so that's it for that. Up next, we have recursive copy, which I know you have some updates on that, Ben.
Yeah, it's been coming along pretty well. Let me share that. Is the PR already in the notes?
it is not.
All right, let me find it.
So while you're doing that, I noticed the name got changed from copy to CP. I missed the discussion around that, though.
Targos had asked for that as well. And oh my God, is there another comment on this? So I don't know. It seemed like the right way to go.
I know we were kind of on the fence / indifferent.
I mean, the reasoning was partially that it doesn't collide with, it's more consistent with the RM function that we added, and it means it doesn't collide with the copy method on FS extra.
Okay, right, because FS extra like adds on top of the existing FS module, like it patches it or something. Yes,
that's one of the modes of use. Plus, I kind of agreed that it was like this thread is I kind of agreed with Targos, and he was supportive of the PR if we made that change.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that seems reasonable to me. I re-reviewed it today, and that was one of the things that I noticed was that the name had changed. So it seems like good reasoning to me.
Yeah, a few folks had suggested it, including you, and I thought it was reasonable. And I kind of like the other thing I do kind of like about the name change is there already is a copy file method. Oh, the link's already in here. There already is a copy file method, and CP can copy a file or a folder, so it felt a little weird to have both of them. But if we're claiming, if it's more that it's behavior similar to copy, like RM was behavior similar to RM, I felt like it just felt consistent. It felt consistent and like a good extension to the API. And basically CP and RM end up being kind of like slightly more complex, kind of a layer on top of the simpler FS operations. So it seemed
right. Yeah, I remember that was some of our original thinking with like RM as well.
Yeah,
so it's not like a system call; it's something built on top of that.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd say it's coming along okay, but it's trying to drive me nuts the amount of review it's gotten. Like it's had 143 comments. So
I saw that earlier.
Yeah, it's
But
like,
it seems like, I mean, it's got some approvals now. Like it seems like it's pretty close, right? When I looked, I noticed one failing test.
that's not actually a real failing test. Yeah,
Okay.
that's just a memory issue with our coverage right now, I think. So I think it's like 100% ready to go.
Yeah, is
Pretty
there
much.
anything outstanding on the PR or anything?
I think just wait a couple more days and see if anyone else gives feedback. That's
Cool.
all.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I'll try to review it tonight.
That went a lot quicker than I expected based on the RM work.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I guess we learned from our first pass.
Right.
All
Yeah,
these
and
drive-by code reviews are driving me nuts though. Like this is like I've fixed like 100 things that are like maybe move this up one space or change this thing to this, and I'm like, oh my, I've run it takes the Node test suite like 3 hours to run. Each one of these drive-by little nits about my spacing on something means it's going to take me 4 more hours to wait for this thing to finish. So I'm excited to have it close to done, but oh my god, like you have to have the patience of a saint to land stuff in this code base sometimes. So
well, that's yeah. I mean, that's a good thing, and that's I think a bit of a perhaps a blocker for some folks. I'm reminded of Chris Hiller, of course. Not that it's the same, but one of the things that we were talking about in the next 10 stuff is like how to make it easier to be a contributor and what are the hurdles and the blockers. And so maybe that's something we should be taking to that conversation as well. I can try to surface it next time I'm there.
Yeah, I don't know the right answer. Like I think like it is good to have a high level of quality. So like to one degree, it can be like we don't want to land stuff before it's really polished in a code base used by so many people. But it's really frustrating with something like this where it's been open for 30 days and like you'll be a day away from merging, and then one person's like, oh, what about this one additional change or this one additional, and then it's like spread out over a month period of time. So it's like every 2 days you're like,
it's a trickle of paper cuts.
Yeah, trickle of paper. I think that's what happened. Is kind of what happened to Chris.
Right.
I don't know if I was more patient with the past work I'd done, or just had more cycles. But I was feeling a little frustrated at the start of the week about this one, even though it's gone really fast. Like so.
For
but
Chris,
yeah.
I was going to say, I think he was really invested. Like he did a lot of work and upfront work and planning and documentation. And then some people just really kind of, I don't want to say poo-pooed it, but like wanted him to do something different than what he had like invested all this energy into. So
that hasn't been the case on this one at all. It's all been really good review. So it's just more like the distributed nature of getting pile-ons for a month period of time.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know what you do about that.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we're getting a pattern that works, and I think if we, I think that if we start to make some progress on CLI, it will be a similar, like I think probably people will be pretty supportive. If we might take 2 months, but I think we'll be able to do it. Yeah.
The ARC parsing stuff. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant.
Yeah, cool.
Sorry. I think it's very different. Yeah, people seemed really supportive of the copies behavior, which is lovely. So
yeah. Cool. Right on. I will try to look at it later.
Okay. Anything else to add on that front, Ben?
Not really. I think as long as people are feeling okay with the copy, calling it CP instead of copy, I think that was the one kind of late breaking change.
Right.
And then when we decided to call it copy, I did try to make it behave a little bit more like copy. So it defaults to only doing files until you say recursive true, which is how copy works on the command line. But it is overwriting by default on account of the fact that like copy is overwriting by default. So if you do like copy foo to bar, it will copy foo over bar. If there's already a bar, yeah.
That seems like sensible defaults then.
Yeah. The only thing that's a little weird, but I called it out in documentation, is copy has behavior that's different if the folder already exists than if the folder didn't exist. copy the folder to a subfolder of the folder if it's there, I believe, and then we'll copy it to the folder itself if there's not a folder there already. That behavior, people are probably used to it from using copy, but it complicates the algorithm a bit and also feels a little weird for an API. Like I feel like the API should just copy to where you set it you're copying to. It's like if you say copy folder A to folder B, regardless if there's already a folder B, just copy folder A to folder B, don't copy it to a subfolder of B.
So with the CP command, that would be distinguished by like, is it CPA with a trailing slash would be like copy all the contents into the existing directory versus without the trailing slash, it would copy the actual directory into the existing directory?
Yeah, you end up needing to basically implement globs, right? Because you can copy a folder without the slash, a folder with a slash, which has different behavior than a folder without a slash. And then you could say like copy foo/star.js into another location, which means you need to start doing glob handling. So
right.
I just went simple. It works like exactly like the current copy API where you just give it a folder, it copies from folder A to folder B. It doesn't try to distinguish if you have a trailing slash or don't have a trailing slash. It doesn't support globs. So I think it's reasonable. That's the behavior that FS Extra's copy went with.
Okay.
I think we could revisit it if we ever added glob in, and then we could and then we could add glob to rimwrap as well, maybe.
Yeah, because we had to remove it there.
Yeah, I still find that behavior a little weird for copy. Like it's like I'd rather be explicit. Like if you want it in a subfolder of B, then indicate that you want to copy to a subfolder of B, right? Like, I feel like I always forget. I always accidentally do that occasionally and didn't mean to when I'm using copy. So I didn't know that I wanted to reproduce that behavior. So, but maybe 7 people will. We're calling it. Oh, the other thing we're saying is we're calling it experimental for now. We're calling out the feature as experimental. So if like 20 people comment after the fact and are like, why the heck doesn't it behave like this? We can revisit that.
Okay, that's good. That gives us a little bit of flexibility to change the API if we want.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Cool.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work there. I was scrolling through and good job, Ben.
Yeah, thanks. I'm like, yeah. I guess this last suggestion's really small, but I'm like, I just got the test passing. And I'm like, I try to please everyone. And I'm like,
yeah,
I'm probably going to merge it and run the test again. It's fine.
Yeah, you may want to just put a comment in there, like no more comments. I'm fixing this last one, running the tests and merging it.
Yeah, I actually thought about that earlier, like when we were talking about like what could we do about this process at some point in the future? Like maybe that is kind of an option where it's like
last call.
Yeah, like last call for fixes, and then we're going to leave this up for some period of time just to make sure everyone's had a chance to comment on it or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
Are people just making comments, or are they like suggesting code? I'm like wondering if you can like batch things, but I guess if they're just trickling in, then you just do it one at a time, huh?
Yeah, it's more just been the trickling in.
Yeah. Maybe that's just what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe it's just something you have to. I mean, at the end of the day, 25 days isn't that long to build a big feature.
Yep.
What I will say is it's slower. I will say feedback for like the next 10 years, it's definitely a little slower than like some other big code bases I've worked in. Like I think you can move a bit faster in Chromium or like V8, but it's much harder to contribute to Chromium or V8. You have to write C++. So like I don't know. Like
yeah, I guess my question to that would be, what do you think is the difference? And is it that just that it's, C++, and so you maybe have less people?
I think less drive-by reviews, and I think that, and because it's a smaller pool of reviewers, and like that's not something we want to get rid of in Node.js. Like it's good to have a whole community building something. So
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
yeah,
So it's just the consequence of having all those people.
Yeah, I don't know, like, and then, like 25 days really isn't that long in the grand scheme of things. Like if you think of it's like 2 sprints, and if you're working at a startup, right? Like,
yeah, and I mean, how many lines of code is that too? It's a good chunk of stuff to review. So
yeah,
doesn't it tell you?
Yeah, it's like 1,780 lines of code. I think it shows that, it definitely showed that it ended up being a lot of work to pull in this other library just to get it to match the style of the Node.js code base, basically. So I think even when we pull stuff in, that's a lot of work, which was kind of the case with RimRaf too.
I was just going to say, I found the same thing with RimRaf.
But
so
anyways, I
was going to say, can you explain that to me? What is it that you did? Did you pull in FS Extra?
We pulled in FS Extra, and then one of the refactors was to rewrite it to use promises, which was, I didn't actually do that. That was a submitted pull request. And then Node.js wants you to document all your errors in an errors.js if you have your own errors that you're throwing. So kind of we took all the errors and made them kind of the way Node does errors, and then Node has ways that you add, like there's markdown files you have to update with all the new API methods. For any file operation, you have to update 3 places: the synchronous, asynchronous, and promise version of the API.
Okay.
And then there's validators as well. That kind of stuff.
Another one that I remember from RimRaf is the way that Node does argument validation as well in functions. Like that was something that they didn't have, so I had to add that in addition to all the things you were kind of mentioning. Yeah, so there's a few things for sure that need to be kind of made into the Node style.
FS Extra was a really good foundation, though.
And so is FS Extra, did you just like kind of take the code and sort of copy it over, but munge it to be Node style? Is that kind of, am I understanding that correctly? Or
yeah, and I think because working with the FS Extra people, like I also rewrote the test suite because I wanted to completely understand all the functionality. So I kind of went from first principles.
Okay.
And actually found a few bugs in the process. So I should make sure I upstream those to FS Extra.
Yeah, interesting.
Like one or two little bugs that were fixed.
Cool.
Got us to 97% code coverage. I don't know. I'm stoked.
Yeah, that's great. Really great.
Nice.
Maybe I just won't. I'll just give it like 1 or 2 more days to see if anyone else comes in with feedback, and then I won't be as frustrated if there's a few more little nits.
Yeah, just do them all at once.
And then just right when I'm ready to merge, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I might be pretty much ready to merge because James Snell just gave it a thumbs up. So.
Yeah, I saw that. That was just before I reviewed it earlier today.
Yeah. I don't want to disregard the one open comment, though. I don't think that's respectful of it. So
yeah, sure.
Call it a merge. I'll do a merge on Monday. Gives people the weekend to do it.
Great. Well, that's exciting.
Yeah, that's another thing checked off.
Yeah, nice. Okay, let's move to the next item on the agenda, which is source map v3 support. I assume no updates on that, right?
Not really. I think we've been fixing bugs as they come up. Let me take a look. Someone asking for it to be on by default, but I should probably.
I think we talked about that last time as well.
Yeah. I should reread that. It looks like the one other issue is that it doesn't work in the, if you're creating a new script with the VM module. So that's kind of a request for added behavior. So I think both of those, I wouldn't really call those bugs. I think those are extensions.
Right.
I wonder if I should close this future work for source map issue I've had open forever.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
Is that the one in our GitHub or?
No, node issues 29.865.
Okay.
I'm just going to go ahead and close this because we've called it stable. I think we should just open new issues as we. And I've done that weak map one that I had as a follow-up.
Why does Snickbot keep mentioning this issue?
That's a great question.
Upgrade Gatsby. What?
This is a weird one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. It looks like some sort of edge case of Sneakbot, maybe.
I wonder if this is related to the website redesign work.
There must just, this issue number must just be referenced somewhere in that.
Yeah.
Commit.
Very strange.
I guess, you know what, if I'm going to close this, I should maybe open an issue for adding REPL support for source maps. That's the source map update, though. I think it's doing okay.
Okay.
Cool.
There's 2 or 3 issues, though, if anyone does want to contribute, that would be good first issues.
Okay. Moving on.
Feature request, yeah.
So the last item on the agenda is argument parsing, everyone's favorite.
Yay. I don't have any update. I don't know if anyone else does.
I also do not, other than the fact that I failed to submit a
Yeah, I
session
saw that.
to NodeConf promote.
Yeah, I failed to submit anything myself.
I actually tried to. I was at work and I wrote up the description and I looked on the site and it was like closes at, midnight. And when I got home that night, I tried to submit it and then I realized it was midnight UTC.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Well, we know some people over there, so if you want to see if we can get it reviewed, considered, it's certainly an option.
Yeah, I thought about that. I tweeted about it, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it worth it or?
Sure.
Okay.
If you have a good application, you should go for it.
Yeah.
Send Joe an email.
Yeah, I have a meeting with Bernadette from Nearform, who I think does events and stuff for them. I mean, I'm working with her on a different event. So I could ask her about it. I think we're meeting on Monday or Tuesday.
Sure. It's worth a try.
Yeah.
I mostly want to do it because it will make us work on it, or at least it'll make me work on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm meeting with her on Wednesday, but I'll just send her an email. Do you want to send me something that I can send over to her? I mean, I know there's that blurb in the Slack.
That was literally like, they did not ask for a lot of information on the CFP form. I was actually kind of surprised. Like that description was the main thing.
Okay. All right, I'll shoot her an email when we're done with this meeting and mention it to her.
Okay, sure. Yeah, it's worth a try, I guess. Not worth making a big deal out of, but
yeah,
worth asking the question, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, that was my update. I felt kind of foolish for assuming my North American centric view of the world.
Yeah, your bias is showing.
Yeah.
You need to work on that, Ian.
Yeah.
Yep. I know.
That sounds good. I think we can find some other forcing function independently of that, I think.
Yeah.
If push comes to shove.
Yeah.
If I get this FS copy thing done, maybe I can pitch in too. Maybe that's because I think that gets us through that will be our next big ticket item.
Yeah, I agree. One thing I think I raised this last time that would at least make it easier to start trying out is actually publishing the npm package, because we have the repo and I think we have some working code in there, but it's not published npm at all.
We're talking about arg parsing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I talked to Darcy earlier this week and I totally forgot to mention that to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's minor, but it would at least make it easy to like drop it into a project and play around with it.
Yeah. I just had the code and would just run it.
Yeah, I mean that probably works for now too.
Yeah. Either way, we're going to publish it at some point anyway, so I think it's not.
Yeah. So I'm currently a use case that I think would be interesting for this actually is that we have a Slack bot. I think I've mentioned this before. We have a Slack bot and has like a / command that you can use to run various commands. And some of the commands have a bunch of arguments. And we basically just made like a, very crude like parser of our own for those arguments. And actually someone on my team right now is currently trying to jam yargs into there to parse.
Tell them to stop and then just come and help us make ours. Yeah.
So that's a use case that's kind of on my mind where something like this would be really useful. We don't need anything like too over the top, right? It's a pretty standard arguments with values.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I'm going to try to work on it soon. It's been on my mind.
All right. Anyone have anything else?
No, I think I opened an issue for that feature that hadn't been implemented yet for source maps so that we don't lose track of it just now. So,
oh, this is the REPL one?
Yeah.
That was
a little better than having that catch-all one that we've had open for years.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Good.
I've been curious about how the REPL works, but if I'll have a chance to tackle that.
Yeah.
I don't want to commit to more things that I'm not going to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I just had a meeting with my manager's manager, and there's a chance I may start to manage a team. And it's like, oh, shoot, what am I going to have to cut out of my, take off of my plate? So I already have too many things.
You can get your team to contribute to our command line parser.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think I might end up managing Cloud Native Computing Foundation work, folks who are working on that side of things. But yeah, anyway, one other thing that comes to mind and actually is sort of a little related to that side comment is I wonder about, and this is a little bit from the Next 10 conversations, but it's also from website redesign work. I wonder about, and I know there used to be a documentation team, but I wonder about kind of reviving that and improving Node's docs. I know that they're decent for like reference stuff, but not necessarily for people who are new to Node and building stuff. I know we've, some of us in a variety of places have heard comments that Node docs aren't really helpful. And I think they mean like when they're trying to build stuff,
Yeah, there's kind of two different styles of docs, right? We have like you said, like reference, if you're wondering like what options does this function take?
Yeah.
That's well documented, but the like maybe more like tutorial style.
Yeah.
Those are hard to write though.
Yeah. So that's something I've been thinking about. And I think it's one of those things that I probably shouldn't add to my plate, but just thinking about it. So.
Oh, I guess news announcement, whatever. I have done some open source work. We shipped the first alpha of Create React App 5 on Wednesday, which is something I've been working on for a little while. So
that's amazing. Congratulations.
Happy to finally get it out there.
Yeah. Do you have a tweet or something? I help boost the signal.
I did tweet about it on Wednesday. Yeah.
I will find it.
Yeah, I think it's probably like my most recent tweet or one of them. So I'm not a prolific tweeter.
I am on it. There you are.
But yeah, so anyways, some progress on some front anyways.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I should learn how to make websites in the modern world. I don't think I've. The last time I was actually employed to make websites, I was using jQuery, I think.
Yeah.
At FreshBooks in Toronto.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's been a while for me as well. I mean, I guess maybe 6 years or something, but that's still a long time.
I actually remember. Are you involved with the website redesign stuff, Joe?
I am, yeah. So I mean, I guess I'm technically working there, but it's more from like a PM standpoint. I haven't done a lot of code, just trying to help the team be successful there.
Right. I think at one point you did ask me about that because I do have some like a fair bit of like front end experience.
Yeah, if you can help. I mean, I think we're at a good spot where we've gotten a lot of the basics done. And now we're looking at a few bigger ticket items. So one is documentation. We want to bring the docs over to the new website, and we need to figure out how we do that because there's some parsing that's going on in there that we would need to make happen, but also like adding some front matter and being able to kind of manage some of the integration into the new platform. So docs is one area. Localization is another that we need to flesh out, which probably isn't a big thing, but and the internationalization team is aware of it and has it on their radar. Shoot, what was the third one? I have a doc for it as well if anybody's interested.
Is there a repo for that project in the org?
Yeah, it's Node.js.dev, which is not a great name because that's also the name of the development work in the OpenJS org. But here, I'll give you guys this link if you're curious. It's a HackMD file, but it does have links to the repositories, sort of some of the current status stuff. So docs, localization, a news and blog feature. We have that for security releases and some announcements. But we're using Gatsby, so we could have the full-fledged blog happening there, which I think would be better than using Medium, or at least we could syndicate to Medium and Dev2. But I think having the canonical blog on the website is probably a good thing. And then sort of as an aside, just making sure that we have no broken links when we move from one to the other. Some things have moved, but I just want to make sure nothing gets abandoned or overlooked or whatnot. So.
Okay. Yeah. I'll take a look at that.
Yeah. Yeah. We could there are a few people who are active, and that's great. The people who are sort of the leaders there are not great at like really managing and being sort of leaders in a way. They're good at helping to get the work kind of keep going, but sometimes they overlook the big picture and sort of jump the gun and do some other things that I try to help them with. But it's getting to the point where I think we could start to work more with the Node.js.org people, and that's why I was thinking about a documentation team if we needed to kind of flesh anything out or think beyond that. So that's where it's at.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone have anything else, or should we wrap it up early?
I think that's it. I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go with my plan of waiting a couple more days to see if a few more things come in on that PR, and then I'll merge people's suggestions on Monday and get it out. So 2 weeks, that'll be exciting.
Yep.
One other thing I'm excited about this week is Mozilla said they're good to prototype the random UID work I was doing. So we have support from Mozilla and from Chromium, which
Cool.
I'm excited about. It's my first time doing standards work like this, so it's exciting to see another team. Like on another browser, give it the thumbs up.
Yeah.
So.
Very cool.
When I saw actually adjacent work, I guess we already have random UID in Node.js, but I guess it wasn't exposed on the crypto namespace because it wasn't seen as being like, fully standardized yet. So I saw Targos had just added it to exposing it on the web crypto object, which I thought was neat.
Wait, is that the crypto object or is it a different name?
I guess the crypto object, and which is I think,
because I think I was actually using it, I think like earlier this week, and I thought that's where I imported it from. But maybe I'm using.
You could import it. I think it's like splitting hairs. You could import it, but I don't think it was like actually on the object itself. If you brought it in as a as you brought it in the entire namespace, basically, without importing it individually. Trying to find the PR.
While you're looking, I'll just say too, I don't know if you all saw Tierney's issue about pre-built binaries.
Oh no.
Yeah, another kind of conversation we're having in the around like contributors' work, having like pre-built Node.js and Node images or a cache of sorts.
That sounds like maybe we should invite Tierney to this meeting, or
he comes every once in a while.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, I should probably go and get a muffin before I go to Cape Cod for the weekend.
Sounds like the plan.
It's my second. I sound like I don't know what the appropriate. I sound like the most New England person, I guess, with my Cape Cod trips, and maybe I'll get some steamers I learned about last time I was there, which is steamed clams.
Yep.
Delicious.
All right, take care. Always good seeing you, folks.